Part 10. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 93. What? There are still people who dare to sneak into my mother's treasure room now. They are really looking for death. Charlotte Smoothie was so angry that she took her two sisters and ran away on her pirate ship, leaving only Levi. The child stared there with big eyes and small eyes. Hey! What should we do if you leave? Tetsalo shouted to them. They had just gotten off the boat and hadn't even eaten a bite of hot food. First, Hancock and Smoothie had a fight, and now they were left hanging here. Well, if you don't mind, let me take you to Cake Island, Pockmusk said to Levi and others. Pokemuse, are you a fur tribe? How did you join Big Mom? Levi and others are now on their way to Cake Island again. Unlike Baron Eggman, who is all around smart, Pockamus appears to be an honest person. Well, I am a fur tribe from Zoo, Elephant Island, Pockamus said with a wry smile, and then he talked about his experience with Levi. Pockamus was born on Zoo Island and was a notorious local villain when he was young. Later, he helped the owner of Cat Viper to find the historical text. Pockamus teamed up with his sworn brothers Pedro, Jabbo, Pepper, and others to form the Nox Pirates and went to sea. As a result, they were wanted by the world government for pursuing world historical texts. Although I'm not as good as Mr. Levi, I am also a great pirate with a bounty of 330 million, Pockamus said with great pride. Really? It's incredible that such an easygoing man like Mr. Pockmus could have such a high bounty. Mo covered his mouth and pretended to be surprised. You actually questioned me, Uncle. I'm very angry. Seeing Monet questioning him, Pockmus immediately looked angry. The angry Mr. Pockmusk is so cute. I wish I had a doll as cute as you. Perona clapped her hands and laughed. Seeing that even a child could not be frightened by anger, Pockamus suddenly became dejected. You have your own pirate group. How did you end up becoming a member of the Big Mom pirate group? Monet asked curiously. When he mentioned this, Pockamus suddenly became sad, and then he began to slowly tell the story of what happened when they left Zoo Island. First, Pibo went down to observe the ocean currents and was accidentally washed away. Pibo was their navigator. Due to the lack of guidance from the navigator, casualties continued to occur in bad weather conditions like New World. In a big storm, the big ship on which Pockamus and the others were traveling was broken up, and then he drifted to Big Mom's territory. Pockamus is a man with great loyalty. After he was saved by the Big Mom pirates, he started working for the Big Mom pirates. Pockamus looked around for a long time, and then he suddenly knelt in front of Levi as if he had made up his mind, and knocked his head heavily on the golden deck with a muffled sound. What are you doing, Pockmus? Levi was startled. Pockmus knelt in front of Levi unprepared, making Levi a little confused. I want to ask you something. When you get to Cake Island later, can you please intercede for my eldest brother? After Pockmus finished speaking, he hit his head heavily on the deck again. Pockmus, please speak clearly first. Levi looked at Pockmus in front of him and said in a serious tone. Pockmus asked him to help, but he didn't know anything about the situation now. How could he do such a favor? Actually, I know the people who stole the historical text. They are the captains of our Nox pirates, Pedro and brother Gerbo. Pockamus burst into tears. I met them on Cake Island this evening. They said they wanted to do something big, and then I saw them sneaking into Mom's castle. Pedro. Levi thought of this man. Pedro was a subordinate of Cat Viper and the leader of the Knights. Pedro is a jaguar fur tribe. As a jaguar fur tribe, he likes to be in trees or other high places, so it is difficult for people to detect his existence, so they call him Pedro the Tree. He is a pirate with a bounty of 382 million belly. As a warrior of the fur tribe, Pedro can use his fur to generate super strong static electricity to attack enemies. In addition, Pedro also has amazing endurance and strong jumping ability. He can jump directly from the same place to high altitudes. On high branches. This is a natural ability of fur people. As for Jabo, he is the eldest brother of Bibo, a member of the White Bear tribe. In order to allow Pedro to return to Zo Island safely, he sacrificed all his life. His younger brother Bibo has always wanted to find his eldest brother, but unfortunately he does not know his eldest brother had already died in Wanguo. Levi also wanted to find a fur tribe subordinate, but whether it was Bocamus, Pedro or Jabo in front of him, their looks were too low. He wanted to find a cute fur tribe. Levi forgot when Pedro first sneaked into 10,000 Kingdoms, but he remembered that Pedro was 27 years old when he lost his left eye, and he was 38 years old when he finally blew himself up to cover the protagonist's retreat. Calculating this, it seems that he was in during this time. Pedro infiltrated the kingdom of Tolant. So, it's your attention to take us to Cake Island. Levi looked at Poke Moose in front of him playfully. He didn't expect that this guy was so loyal. Not only did he dare to cheat him of this reward for his eldest brother, the big pirate who has 5 billion belly gold and dares to disobey the Bagridim's orders. Levi has always admired Pedro, but he didn't expect, Zhao, that the Pokmas in front of him was also a man. Bocamus's whole body was already wet with sweat, but when he mentioned Big Mom, his whole body couldn't help but tremble. Even so, he still said firmly, Lord Pedro is kind to me, even if he bets even with my life, I have to try to save him. When Levi and the others arrived at the lobby of Cake Island under the leadership of Poke Musey, the lobby was crowded with people at this moment. Charlotte Linlin, Katakuri, Smoothie, Snickers, these prominent members of the Big Mom Pirates group, the characters are all here. Ever since the Pirate King Roger came to Cake Island, he beat Charlotte Linlin unable to fight back, and then he stole the rubbings of the historical text. From then on, this piece of historical text became her enemy. Unexpectedly, after so many years, there would still be someone who dared to touch it. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 94. Where are those two bold pirates? Bring them up, Charlotte Linlin's sharp voice sounded, and then two more people were pushed up. Behind them, Baron Eggman covered his left eye with his hand, which was obviously his eye. Already blind. Not only did you sneak into my treasure room, but you also injured Baron Dandan. You can decide your own fate, Big Mom laughed. After that, a huge compass was pushed out. This roulette wheel was extremely huge, and there were some patterns of hands and feet painted on it, which looked very scary. There were also some numbers written on other parts of the roulette wheel. Brother Jibo looked at Pedro with a pleading look. Pedro had no fear. He looked at Charlotte Linlin with fearless eyes. Not only did you sneak into my treasure room to steal my treasures, but you also injured my subordinate Baron Dandan. Now let God decide your crimes. Charlotte Linlin looked at the two in front of her. The young man laughed. She likes to see this kind of scene the most, the life and death between two gardens. Big Mom, is it enough for one of us to bear this punishment? Jabo looked at Charlotte Linlin, and after getting her approval, Jabo strode towards the roulette wheel. How could it be this punishment? It's over, Pokemus collapsed on the ground. Very good, it actually has a lifespan of 1,793 years, let's start now. After Jabo turned the roulette wheel, Charlotte Linlin looked at the pointer pointing to 100 and laughed, and then she grabbed Jabo's big hand. Ah! With Jabo's scream, he lay motionless on the ground. Charlotte Linlin drained all his lifespan in just a moment. The soul fruit is such a powerful fruit, Levi exclaimed with emotion. Oops, he only has 30 years to live. It seems that the remaining 70 years of life will be extracted from you, Charlotte Linlin said regretfully. Mom, this is my eldest brother Pedro, please let him go for my sake. Pokmas rushed out and lay down next to Pedro, crying. Pokmas, get up, It's so embarrassing. Baron Eggman walked up to him and whispered to him. Bokamus turned a deaf ear and just knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Charlotte Linlin. Oh, Bokamus. Then just to save your face, just give him 60 years of life instead of 10 years of his lifespan, Charlotte Linlin said casually. In 60 years, you will die even if you do that. Bokamus was stunned for a moment before preparing to plead with Charlotte Linlin again. Are you dissatisfied with my decision? Pokermus, Charlotte Linlin looked at him, and Pokermus was immediately frightened and at a loss. Master Levi, please save Brother Pedro. Bokamus asked Levi for help. Charlotte Linlin then realized that Levi had also come here. Under Levi's deliberate concealment, Charlotte Linlin didn't even look at it. On the trail of Levi. Bokamus, you are very good, Charlotte Linlin laughed, and a depressing atmosphere began to spread in the hall. Mom. Bokamus was speechless. I don't blame him. I heard that someone actually dared to sneak into the Four Emperors' territory to steal things, so I asked him to come and show me around. Levi didn't seem to feel Charlotte Linlin's words, he still looked relaxed. Hey, Big Mom, how many years can I avoid like this? While Levi was talking to Charlotte Linlin, Pedro directly pulled out his sword and stabbed Levi blind in his left eye. Bright red blood dripped down his cheeks toward the floor of the hall. For a moment, everyone, BFFJ, was shocked by him. I blinded his left eye, and now I use my left eye in exchange. I wonder how many years I can offset it now. Pedro's voice was still steady, as if it was not his eye that was stabbed. You are a man, so I will spare you 10 years of life, Charlotte Linlin said with a smile, but her eyes were cold. She must kill such a courageous pirate, otherwise it will cause trouble for her in the future. Do you just want to live? Charlotte Linlin looked at Pedro with eyes full of sarcasm. Even a tough guy like Pedro longed for survival in the face of life and death. There is no point in dying here, Pedro replied decisively. After that, Pedro seemed to be talking to Charlotte Linlin, and also seemed to be saying to everyone above the hall, I will never fall here. At least I will never fall here today. The dawn before the darkness is coming soon, and I must live until the moment before dawn. Pedro's eloquent words made Levi think of him to a higher level. This guy is really a tough guy. I think let's just say it's 30 years. Otherwise, wouldn't his eyes be white? Levi said to Charlotte Linlin with a smile. As soon as Levi's words came out, all Charlotte Linlin's children's hearts skipped a beat. This was the first time they had seen someone who dared to question their mother's existence. Idiot, how dare you contradict your mother, you will be killed by her. Smoothie was particularly anxious. She finally found Levi as a strong support. If Levi was killed by her mother, she would definitely never find her again. A man with unlimited potential like Levi. Although Smoogie admits that Levi is very strong, Smoogie never thinks that Levi is Charlotte Linlin's opponent. Charlotte Linlin looked at Levi condescendingly, and Levi looked at her without giving in. Everyone was worried, fearing that their mother would slap Levi to death in a rage. Interesting, he is indeed a great pirate with a bounty of 5 billion. Today, I will give you this face and save him 30 years of life. Charlotte Linlin laughed loudly again. Thank you, Levi. I will repay you in the future, Pedro said to Levi. You know the chance of success is slim, why do you insist on stealing the text of history? Levi looked at Pedro in front of us, and he finally asked the question he had hidden in his heart. Now that Roger is dead, Levi still doesn't understand the significance of Pedro stealing the historical text. The will of inheritance, the ups and downs of the times, and people's dreams are all things that cannot be stopped. As long as people are pursuing the answer to freedom, they will never stop. Pedro straightened his back and said this to Levi. Talk. After that, he was drained of 30 years of life by his aunt, and then walked out with the help of Pokemus. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 95. Today, the entire Cake Island is in a sea of joy. Because Levi has come to Cake Island. Levi, who has a bounty of 5 billion in Grand Line, has come to Cake Island. Charlotte Linlin was very happy. She announced the news early, so representatives of the dark forces came to celebrate Charlotte Linlin early. At this moment, in the Cake Island, whether it is the table, chairs, or the floor door of the house, various trees and flowers next to it, a small sun and a sad white cloud are all singing loudly. The garden surrounding the cake palace was filled with tables and chairs, with mountains of drinks and cakes piled on them. All the dark forces that came were sitting peacefully, discussing how to do the next business. Hey! Shipping King, I have a batch of weapons that need to be transported to the New World, and I need to go through your channels. He. New World has been in turmoil recently, and the loan sharking business is very easy to do. Let's start a war quickly. Only in this way can people die, and I can dig out the organs and sell them, so that my business will be better. These people here are all representative figures of various dark forces, so they are discussing topics about the dark world. While they were discussing cooperation, they were waiting for Big Mom to officially start the tea party. Although they are all very capable and their business has reached an astonishing level, if they want to thrive in the New World, it is impossible not to give face to people like Charlotte Linlin. Have you heard? That Levi is going to marry Charlotte Smoothie, the 14th daughter of the Charlotte family, tomorrow. Suddenly a big boss started the topic. Yes. This Levi is not an ordinary person. This guy is a more powerful person than the red-haired Shanks who is currently making trouble in the New World. Shanks has always been suppressed by him when he was in the Grand Line. Not only that, this guy is less than 20 years old, but he already has the strength to fight Admiral. Even the Thor under his command is almost as good as Admiral. As soon as the topic started, the whole scene suddenly became lively, and everyone was praising Charlotte Linlin for her good vision. I don't think so, a white-haired bird wearing a black gentleman's uniform objected. Everyone recognized him. He was Morgans, who was known as Big News. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he said mysteriously, "Everyone, I was lucky enough to participate with Levi in the Marineford battle. Levi gave me the feeling. He is a proud and arrogant person, and he will never succumb to others. But Charlotte Linlin is even less likely to give in," someone next to her interjected. As soon as this person said his words, everyone's expressions became strange. It seemed that this tea party was going to be a good show. At this moment, in Charlotte Linlin's palace, the two protagonists of the meeting, Levi and Charlotte Linlin, stood opposite each other, and the atmosphere in the entire hall was extremely tense. "Boy Levi, let me ask you one last time, are you really unwilling to marry my daughter?" Charlotte Linlin's tone was full of threats. "If you don't want to, you just don't want to. No matter how you persuade me, I won't change my mind." Levi didn't care at all about Charlotte Linlin's threat. Although Charlotte Linlin is known as a steel balloon, her physique is no worse than Kaido. But Levi was confident that he could survive in the hands of Charlotte Linlin, so he brought his men to the kingdom of Tolant. "No one can ever refuse me, believe me, you will come back and beg me." Charlotte Linlin originally looked angry, but she laughed again in the blink of an eye. "You actually took action against my subordinates." Levi suddenly understood something, and then he had a strong murderous intention for Charlotte Linlin in his heart. Charlotte Linlin lay on the chair and put a piece of cake into her big mouth. After that, she said happily, "Levi, you still have time to beg me. My 4 dessert stars are all gone. Their murderous intentions, it's relatively big. Once they kill all your subordinates, it won't be good. If I lose one of my subordinates, I will let everyone in the kingdom of Tolant be buried with him." After Levi said this, he turned into a bolt of lightning and ran through the roof. At this moment, on the edge of Cake Island, a battle suddenly started. All members of the Charlotte family mobilized to surround Levi's golden ship. This was the order of their mother Charlotte Linlin. Originally, they were dissatisfied with their mother for letting the 4 dessert stars go out together. Please give me flowers. In their eyes, they only need to send 2 generals to entangle Enel and Tetsalo, and the others can capture them with their backhands. But now the Levi pirates have taught them a harsh lesson. Charlotte Snug thought he could solve everything by himself, but he collapsed as soon as he got on the boat. A pink-haired twin-tail lowly shouted at him, "Negative ghost." Then a scene appeared that made everyone feel chills on their backs. Charlotte Snag held a long knife and slashed at the white spirit body. The spirit body got into Snag's body without any damage. "I am a bed bug, no one should pay attention to me." In an instant, Snag fell to the ground with no fighting spirit. At this time, a fat man in a white suit came out of the Levi pirates. When he touched Snag's body, a figure appeared on his neck. Green collar. Rice cake blade bullet. Seeing that something was wrong, Katakuri made his fingers resemble pistols, and shot a ball of rice cake towards Breed like pistol bullets. A scene that stunned everyone appeared. When the glutinous rice bullet was about to hit Breed, Snag held a long knife and instantly knocked away the glutinous rice bullet. "Snag, what are you doing?" Suddenly all the brothers and sisters in the family were furious. Even if they fell down when they met each other, how could they help the enemy to beat one of their own? "My body is out of control." Sina choked out a sentence full of pain, and then stood behind Breed like a guard. Katakuri glanced thoughtfully at the green collar around Snag's neck. He knew that Snag was controlled by the fat man in front of him using Devil Fruit's ability. Katakuri waved his hand, and countless soldiers rushed towards the ship, but a beautiful woman in a maid uniform came to the bow. Her arms turned into 2 multi-barreled machine guns and poured down continuously firepower. The barrage was occasionally mixed with artillery shells. For a moment, the Charlotte family's army was suppressed by a little girl under the beach. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 96. Don't waste time. Come together, it won't end well if Levi comes back. Katakuri just used observation haki to foresee the scene of Levi's return. He will never allow this to happen, so he doesn't care about bullying the small or bullying the small. Katakuri slowly pulled out a trident from his wrist. He dragged the trident backwards and slowly walked towards Levi's ship. Behind him, Smoothie, Cracker and others also unsheathed their swords and walked slowly towards them. The decisive battle has begun. Enel looked at Katakuri walking in front of him. Judging from his breath sensing, the guy in front of him was very strong, and Smoothie and Cracker behind him were not weak either. "Leave Katakuri to me." Enel looked at Katakuri in front of him and couldn't help but feel the fighting spirit. Then 697, the golden stick in his hand turned into a trident, and he also imitated Katakuri and dragged him down the ship. "Go. You little brats, be careful. There are too many enemies now, and Tetsalo is also afraid that these little guys will make mistakes, because except for Baby 5, none of these little girls have ever fought before." Suddenly, a group of powerful opponents have come, and Tetsara has no confidence. Can protect them perfectly. Golden armor. Tizero pointed at their bodies. Perona, Sugar, Baby 5, Breed, Hancock, and Luo each had a golden armor. This was a new ability developed by Tizero. He used the golden fruit to the armor he made was extremely hard, and ordinary attacks could not break his armor at all. Because Monet is Logia's devil fruit, she. What a cool armor, the Lolita's eyes were shining with gold as they looked at the armor on their bodies. They would have been happy for a long time with a few pieces of gold jewelry. Now that they were wearing a gold armor, they were so happy that they almost fainted. "Leave Smoothie to me." Hancock looked at Smoothie approaching, and her eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Although she was not Smoothie's opponent now, she was not afraid of Smoothie at all. Head Hancock, please leave this woman to me. You have a more important role. When the soldiers from the Big Mom Pirates come up later, you still need to use Conqueror's Haki to clean up the fish. Ludo walked to Hancock's house holding Gooey Cry in his hands. Front. Although Ludo is younger than Hancock, his op fruit development is much better than Hancock's. After all, Ludo is a doctor, and op fruit has been developed in his hands to the point where it is about to awaken. The most important thing is that Ludo's devil fruit has the function of displacement, so he can fight with Smoothie for a longer time. Snowland. When the crew of the Big Mom Pirates approached the ship, Monet chuckled, and then she transformed into a snow elf and kept flying around the ship. Everyone saw such a magical scene. In the hot summer, heavy snow fell on the surrounding ships, and the heavy snow had cut off the sight of both parties. I didn't expect there was a second Logia demon fruit power on Levi's ship. According to the information they collected, Thor Enel is a Logia thunder fruit user. Unexpectedly, there is a second Logia devil fruit on Levi's ship. Hey! Your opponent is me, don't look around. A wicked smile appeared on Enel's lips, and then he suddenly appeared in front of Katakuri and thrust the golden halberd directly at Katakuri. The battle has begun. Katakuri's observation haki has reached an extremely advanced level, but Enel's observation haki is not weak at all. He developed the mind without anyone's guidance. Later, under Levi's guidance, his haki practice has advanced rapidly. At this moment, both Katakuri and Enel had a very strange feeling, as if their movements were predicted by the other party, so they began to change their moves wildly during the fight. Ludo had already started fighting with Smoothie. Smoothie's terrifying sword light kept slashing at him, causing huge waves in the sea, but Ludo's figure kept flashing, and slashes continued towards Smoothie. Cat countered. Fall them all. The soldiers of the Big Mom Pirates began to fall in pieces, and finally only the ants' children were left, rushing towards the ship. These soldiers are so tough. My machine gun can't even shoot through them. Baby 5 watched in shock as the soldiers carrying shields in front of them continued to approach. There were many of these soldiers, and they looked exactly the same. Under the cover of their shields, next, they are already very close to the ship and can board the ship soon. This is Cracker's ability, leave it to me. With a thought in Tetsalo's mind, the densely packed golden soldiers holding spears separated from the ship. After that, Cracker's biscuit soldiers and Tezaro's gold soldiers were inextricably killed, and Cracker's biscuit soldiers could no longer move forward. Golden laser. A huge laser swept along Cracker's group of biscuit soldiers. Cracker's soldiers were all smashed into pieces immediately. With a burst of clapping, the shattered biscuits were reunited and formed. After that, a new round of the war begins. Under the cover of the biscuit soldiers, Auntie's children rushed into the snowfield created by Monet. The moment they rushed in, a wailing sound sounded, and Monet's snowflakes were like sharp blades, piercing their bodies. There were continuous cuts on it. Hot wind fist. Charlotte Owen shouted loudly, and then he waved his fists rapidly, and scorching winds appeared from his body. In less than a moment, all of Monet's snowflakes were dissolved by him. The children of the Charlotte family were in great spirits, and they shouted loudly and headed towards the golden ship. The moment they came into contact with the big ship, 2.5 countless golden spears suddenly appeared on the originally smooth deck. Unexpectedly, more than half of the children were injured. Capture the arrow. A burst of pink arrows shot into the crowd, and each big man was turned to stone. Perfume femur. Hancock jumped up from the air with her long legs, ready to kick the petrified cotters into pieces. A sword light flew towards Hancock slowly. Although the sword light was extremely slow, it gave Hancock a feeling of panic. At this moment, Snag's figure appeared, and he slashed the sword light with a slash. Chop into pieces. Everyone, get back to the ship. They are very strong. Don't go head to head with them. The Empress jumped back onto the ship, and then she led the others and ran towards the cabin, leaving only the three who were fighting with the generals. People. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 97. Fortunately, we caught up. It's not too late. Levi saw that Enel, Tetsalo, and Lugo were still fighting with the three generals, and his observation Haki also felt the aura of Hancock and others. Boss, you are back. Thunder and lightning flashed on Enel's body. After forcing Katakuri back, he came to Levi's side. He originally thought that Levi had already fought with Charlotte Linlin, but he did not expect that Levi could return safely. At this moment, Lugo also came to Levi's side. Under Katakuri's order, his younger brothers and sisters also gathered around Levi. At this moment, the two teams were standing together. Most of the Big Mom pirates were injured and seemed to have suffered a lot. On the other hand, Levi's subordinates were all wearing golden armor, and they looked very handsome. Not only did they not suffer losses, but they also turned Sage, who had a bounty of 800 million belly, into their own fighting force. Levi breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's okay if you are okay. Now just take a look here. I will defeat all these people in front of me. How arrogant is it for one person to challenge us all? Let's pass my level first and then talk about it." Katakuri laughed. Levi didn't take him seriously. Levi's eyes suddenly sharpened, and his conqueror's haki pressed towards the people behind Katakuri. Some of Katakuri's younger siblings had fainted. Such a powerful conqueror's haki, although Katakuri also has a conqueror's haki, his conqueror's haki is nothing compared to Levi. Katakuri also released his conqueror's haki, and the two conquerors' haki collided. Although Katakuri's conqueror's haki was instantly shattered by the impact of Levi's haki, his younger brothers and sisters also escaped from Levi's conqueror's haki. Woke up. It took a while, Ka-er. Levi laughed, and then he released endless thunder. In the thunder, humanoid lightning was condensed and formed. In an instant, a humanoid lightning appeared in front of each of Charlotte Linlin's children. Ah! There was a burst of screams, and except for the three generals, the other children were all blackened by the electricity. They lay in a mess on the ground. Levi cleaned up the trash fish with just one blow. Pretzels. Crackers biscuit soldiers all grew 6 arms, and they attacked Levi with the swords in their hands. Levi looked at Cracker's blow with indifferent eyes, as if his blow was not attacking him. Levi's left hand slowly formed into a fist, and then his fist swung downwards. Boom! The thunder and lightning in the sky suddenly became violent, and the entire sky was instantly covered by thunder and lightning, and then the thunder and lightning instantly condensed into a huge fist. Oh my God! Such power! Is this the horror of a big pirate with a bounty of 5 billion? This was the first time for Hancock and others to see Levi use Thunder Fruit's ability like this. They didn't expect that Levi had already developed Thunder Fruit to the same extent as her. Cracker, get out of the way. There was a trace of horror in Katakuri's eyes. His observation haki met the future, and Cracker instantly became a corpse under Levi's thunder and lightning. After that, a blazing blue electric light instantly turned everyone's eyes into a blur of whiteness. Boom! A loud noise made the entire Cake Island shake, and then a huge tsunami spread in all directions with Cake Island as the center. When everyone's eyes recovered, the square where Cracker's biscuit soldiers were originally had disappeared, and endless sea water poured in, making bursts of roar. Levi's casual blow just now evaporated an entire island of this size. Hoo, ho! Cracker kept panting on the side. Fortunately, Katakuri pulled him out just now, otherwise he would have fallen under Levi's thunder just now. Even so, Cracker is also covered in blood now. He has been seriously injured by Levi and has no fighting power at all. The only ones who can fight now are Katakuri and Smoothie. Levi, are you really determined to be with your mother? Smoothie asked reluctantly. This was the first time that Smoothie was so attracted to a man, and she really didn't want to become enemies with Levi. Smoothie, it's irreversible, don't have any illusions. Katakuri's eyes were full of seriousness, and he could feel that Levi would never become Big Mom's subordinate. Let me see how much of your 5 billion bounty is worth. Katakuri dragged his trident backwards and walked towards Levi. Behind him, everything turned white, which was the abnormality caused by the awakening of his Nyonyo fruit. Thunder and lightning surged around Levi's body. He took a step forward and appeared directly on Katakuri's back. He slashed directly at Katakuri with his sword. Observation Haki. Levi watched in surprise as his arm sank into Katakuri's back. Judging from the cut with his hand knife, he was attacking Katakuri's puppet made of glutinous rice. Levi had long known that Katakuri's observation Haki had been practiced to the point where he could predict the future briefly, and he used observation Haki to sense Levi 810's attack position. Nyomi squirmed crazily in the direction of Levi, surrounding him like a patio, and then poured down. Levi's figure suddenly appeared in mid-air. With the cooperation of Thunder Fruit, his speed has reached the top of the world. Katakuri hid in this pile without showing any trace of Ben. It seems that he also knew that Levi was powerful, so he walked in a clumsy way. Don't you want to come out? It's not up to you. Lei Ying. Levi's mind moved, and immeasurable thunder emerged from the sky and the earth. The endless thunder instantly covered the glutinous rice world where Katakuri awakened, and the whole world became a world of thunder and lightning. I found you. Levi's eyes flashed, he took a deep breath, and smashed Kataku with his right hand. Levi's fist swung downwards in the air, and as the ground shook, Katakuri fell to the ground covered in blood. Even his scarf fell off, revealing his terrifying mouth. Levi, suffer death. Smoothie saw her brother being defeated by Levi. Her body was slowly growing taller, but before she could draw her sword, she was knocked unconscious by Levi. Only Big Mom is left now. Levi looked at the cake castle with a smile on his lips. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 98. Ding. It is detected that the host has completed the check-in task. Now the rewards are being distributed. Please check the host. As the sound of the system fell, Levi suddenly felt that there were countless ways to use armament Haki in his mind, and his armament Haki became the strongest in an instant. He was originally worried about how to break through Charlotte Linlin's body like a steel balloon, but the system's reward was really a timely help. Over the Cake Island. Levi raised his hands high, and the endless dark clouds gathered in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the originally sunny sky became dim, and a depressing atmosphere spread throughout the island. What's going on? Is it going to rain? Someone in the dark giant looked up at the sky and muttered to himself. They have been to Cake Island many times, but they have never heard of Cake Island Club. Zeus, what's going on? Charlotte Linlin looked up and asked. Mom, I did it from time to time. I can feel that there is a lot of lightning in this cloud, and it looks very delicious, Zeus said with drooling eyes. Zeus was created by her from soul fragments. It is extremely sensitive to lightning. Zeus will never lie to him. The kingdom of Toland is the highest masterpiece she created using the soul fruit. Every island, every tree, and even the sun in the sky were created by her. It can be said that Charlotte Linlin is the god here. But Charlotte Linlin sensed the aura of destruction from the aura of this dark cloud. Someone was definitely taking advantage of this. Suddenly, Levi's figure flashed in her mind. Is it that kid Levi? Charlotte Linlin couldn't help but murmur to herself, and then, A strong observation. Haki looked in the direction where Katakuri was fighting just now, and she couldn't help but exclaimed, "How is this possible?" She saw that all his children were lying on the ground, but no one in Levi's pirate group was harmed. She remembered Levi's last move during the battle at Marineford, and she not only felt her scalp numb. "Zeus, come on, come and see with me." Charlotte Linlin thought of this and no longer delayed. She rode Zeus and took Napoleon towards the sky. "Wait for me, Mom." Prometheus hurriedly chased after Charlotte Linlin. At this moment, as time goes by, the thunder in the sky attracts Levi's hand from all directions, and a bright thunder ball appears in his hand. Levi keeps compressing it. Finally, the thunder ball that appears in his hand has changed. It must be as bright as the sun. "Levi, it's really you who is doing the trick." Charlotte Linlin saw Levi in the sky, and she couldn't help but sneered. "It was me, but you noticed it too late." Levi's eyes flashed, and then he threw the thunderball in his hand towards Charlotte Linlin. "Prometheus." With Charlotte Linlin's sneer, the artificial sun landed on her right fist. Then her right fist was on fire and she punched the thunderball thrown by Levi. Ah! The moment the fist came into contact with the thunderball, the entire sky suddenly became dazzling. A bolt of lightning was like a world-destroying spear and knocked Charlotte Linlin directly off the clouds. With a loud noise, a huge crater appeared in the cake castle. Next to. "That's it, Big Mom. It's Big Mom. Who can actually have this ability to shoot down a monster like her?" The dark giants heard the noise and came outside. They didn't react until they saw Charlotte Linlin in the pit. Coming over, the dark clouds and the dazzling thunder and lightning just now were all Big Mom fighting with an unknown enemy. "Levi, you're fine." Charlotte Linlin crawled out of the pit unscathed, and then bursts of terrifying laughter began to spread in all directions along with her horror. "Conqueror's Haki." This sound wave was so huge that the eardrums of many dark giants were shattered. They kept wailing on the ground. Later, under the shock of Charlotte Linlin's laughter and Conquerors, everyone fainted. Levi's figure appeared in front of Charlotte Linlin like a ghost, and then he clasped Charlotte Linlin's face with his hand and slammed it toward the ground. Boom! With a violent sound and splashing dust, 7 or 8 huge cracks opened in the entire earth due to Levi's blow. Fire from heaven. On her fist, Prometheus suddenly released a blazing fire, and the fire sprayed towards Levi with terrifying high temperature. Levi's whole body was surrounded by armament Haki, and then he took one step out of the scope of the fire and came to Charlotte Linlin again. Levi's eyes flashed, and he concentrated all his strength with his right fist to hit Charlotte Linlin's stomach hard. Charlotte Linlin's head was still in the ground. At this moment, she was like a plow, starting from the front of the cake island, a line she plowed out the deep ditch that reached the end of her sight. "Hey, do you still have that delicious thunder and lightning?" Just now, when Levi was about to give chase, he suddenly heard a voice from the bottom of the pit asking him. Levi lowered his head and saw that it was Zeus made by his aunt, but the originally white Zeus now turned as black as ink, and there were countless electric arcs swimming around its body. Levi raised his eyebrows slightly and asked in surprise, "How much electricity can you withstand?" "I don't know. I have never encountered lightning that I can't absorb." "Just like the lightning you just had, it was not only delicious, but also, good for money, and in sufficient quantity." "I was full." Zeus lay in the pit. There was a look of satisfaction on his face. "You're still eating when you're full, and you're not afraid of being full to death." Levi couldn't help but feel speechless about it. "Such delicious thunder and lightning, I won't be able to eat it if you leave." "I want to eat more." Zeus burst into tears as he spoke. What a complete foodie. It was also the first time for Levi to see such a being who was desperate for food. Looking at the naive Zeus in front of him, an evil carrying plan passed through Levi's mind. "Levi, I'm going to kill you, you damn kid!" Charlotte Linlin rushed towards Levi again. Looking at Charlotte Linlin, who was unscathed, Levi was also shocked by her terrifying talent. This guy has only eaten and eaten in his life, and he has reached the level of 4 emperors. If she can practice hard in the past few decades, then how terrifying can she be? Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 99. At this moment, Charlotte Linland's eyes were blood red, and she was obviously very angry. She had been traveling across the sea for so many years, and except for the time when Roger raped the historical text, she had never been insulted like that. Go to hell. Charlotte Linland's big hand made a fist and swung it at Levi. Levi was not afraid at all, and smashed his fist at Charlotte Linland's fist. At the moment when the two fists collided, an invisible fist wind appeared from the place where their fists collided. After that, the majestic Cake Island city wall collapsed on the spot, and the strong fist wind broke countless big trees in the distant forest. 2 huge pits have appeared under their feet. Ah! Charlotte Linland roared again, her huge body rushed forward, and an even more powerful force emerged from her fists. Levi was not afraid at all. The armament haki on his fist changed, and a stronger force surged towards Charlotte Linland. A ripple-like wave rippled rapidly on their fists, and then a huge crack spread to both sides with Levi and Charlotte Linland as the center. Cake Island was torn into 2 halves by the terrifying power of Levi and Charlotte Linland. Levi knew that if he could not inflict a fatal blow to Charlotte Linland, then the battle would probably last for a long time. This was Charlotte Linland's territory, and a protracted war would be very detrimental to Levi. This was something Levi could not allow. The armament haki on Levi continues to strengthen, and in the blink of an eye Levi becomes in full power. Boom boom boom. Levi's fists and Charlotte Linland's fists continued to exchange blows. As they continued to move, the entire Cake Island became devastated. Everything that Charlotte Linland had worked hard to create for decades was destroyed in just half a day. Destroy them all. Charlotte Linland is worthy of being one of the 4 emperors. Even though Levi has raised his armament haki to the highest level, he still can't take any advantage against Charlotte Linland's steel balloon-like body. As their fists collided again, the entire Cake Island completely sank to the bottom of the water. Levi stepped on the moonwalk and flew into the sky. Then he drew out the 7-star sword and struck towards Charlotte Linland with 10 brilliant white slashes. Charlotte Linland roared to the sky, and then she held the hat on her head in her hands. As her long hair danced wildly, a touch of sword energy quickly gathered from the long sword in her hand. The Spear of Elbaf, powerful nation. Amidst Charlotte Linland's roar, the Napoleon in her hand instantly became full of sword energy, and even Levi couldn't look directly at it. Charlotte Linland sent out a slash across the sky and the earth in her hand. The slash split the sky and crashed towards Levi's slash. Among the swordsmen Levi had seen, Smoothie's sword energy was magnificent, but compared to Charlotte Linland, Smoothie's slashes were the difference between a firefly and the sun. Boom! Levi's slash was wiped out by Weiguo, and the clouds in the sky were torn apart and silently annihilated in the sky. The entire sky suddenly turned blue, as if everything in the sky had been wiped out. Is this the power of the giant's combat skills? This was Levi's first time seeing the giant's combat skills. It turned out that the power of the giant's combat skills was so terrifying. In the entire world of One Piece, the giants do not seem to have any capable masters, but even so, the giants are recognized as the strongest clan in the world. It seems that it is necessary to visit the giants in the future. This is so enjoyable. Levi also fought until he went crazy. He raised his arms high, and then endless thunder covered the entire sky. This is the first time Levi has shown its full power since the Thunder Fruit awakened. It was not revealed even in the Marineford battle. Look at my endless minefield. Following Levi's words, countless thunder beasts surged toward Charlotte Linland in the clouds in the sky. Each thunder beast here has a power of 200 million volts. Now the entire sky is occupied by thunder beasts. Just against these thunder beasts, Levi is also confident to start a war with the entire naval headquarters. Charlotte Linlin didn't say a word, but the sea under her feet was holding her up continuously. In the blink of an eye, Charlotte Linlin stepped on the waves and reached the sky. Is this the power of thunder fruit after its awakening? It's so powerful. Enel looked at Levi in the sky with blurred eyes. Enel respected Levi even more. Levi, I will work hard to practice. Hancock looked at the two people in the sky who were fighting like gods. She felt even more weak. She decided to practice hard when she returned to Nine Snakes Island. Don't leave the mountain. Boy Levi, go to hell. Charlotte Linlin suddenly accelerated. She was in front of Levi in an instant. Prometheus was burning above her fist. Now Charlotte Linlin's fist speed exceeded the speed of sound. When her fist reached in front of Levi, only then did he hear the sound of her fist breaking through the air. Haha, it's really enjoyable. On top of Levi's fist, the highest level armament Haki mixed with the Fist of Thunder took the initiative to move towards the Fist of Genlot Linlin. At this moment, the whole sky changed color, there was sudden lightning and thunder in the sky, and in the blink of an eye, a dazzling light obscured everything. The incredible power caused the sea water that was swept into the sky to splash, and it started raining instantly within 100 miles. However, the rainwater could not invade them at all and was evaporated cleanly by the surging chi and blood in their bodies. Charlotte Linlin is the strongest opponent Levi has encountered since going to sea, even more difficult than Kaido. Charlotte Linlin has developed the soul fruit to an impeccable level. Coupled with her terrifying physical talent, Levi cannot know why Whitebeard is called the strongest man in the world. Charlotte Linlin is already so powerful, so how powerful is Whitebeard, who is known as the strongest man in the world? Neither of the two's attacks seem to be able to cause fatal damage to the other. Based on their terrifying physical fitness, they would probably fight for a year and a half without deciding the outcome. Request flowers 0. They fought for several hours without deciding the outcome, but they only suffered from the giants underground. As the Cake Island burst, they all fell into the sea. Although some lucky ones survived, most of them died. Buried at the bottom of the sea. It's possible to be so strong. At this moment, Katakuri was sitting on a small boat made entirely of glutinous rice. Behind him were his younger brothers and sisters. When the Cake Island burst, he struggled to pull his younger brothers and sisters onto the boat. Most of the children of the Charlotte family have demon fruit power. If they fell into the water, few of them would survive. Smoothie's eyes were full of bitterness at this moment. Only then did she see clearly Levi's strength. No wonder he looked down on the Charlotte family's strength. According to Levi's strength, he could build a family that was no less powerful than Torrent in minutes. The power of the kingdom. I didn't expect that Levi is already competing for dominance. This is really big news. At this moment, Morgans was flying in the sky, and the camera in his hand kept taking pictures of the battle between Levi and Charlotte Linlin. Big news, really big news. After Shanks, New World has another Overlord-level figure. Morgans was trembling with excitement. As an intelligence officer, he knew what it meant to have such a character in the New World, which meant endless war and killing. I'm afraid New World is about to undergo a new round of reshuffle. Morgans originally thought that after irritating Charlotte Linlin, his life would end here. In Charlotte Linlin's base camp, even Whitebeard could not please him. But now that it's inextricably linked to Charlotte Linlin's killing, Morgans won't have such thoughts. Morgans feels the most. His intelligence capabilities are among the best in the world, and he has also dreamed of participating in the competition for New World supremacy. However, the more information I know, the more I understand my own insignificance, and the more I think about it, the more frightened I become. In this world, only strength is the confidence to speak, and only those with strength are worthy of speaking harshly. This shocking battle between the two lasted for a full month. Levi was already panting like an ox. He was consumed too quickly. In the end, even the highest level of life regeneration no longer worked. His attacks were either destroyed by the soul. The transfer of the fruit's ability is either blocked by Charlotte Linland's defense that can be described as steel and iron. Levi's top armament haki can only make him physically as good as Charlotte Linland. If he wants to break through her defense, I'm afraid he has to practice swordsmanship to the highest level. Charlotte Linland was lying on Zeus. Her whole body was already soaked with sweat. This was her most exciting battle. She looked at Levi and laughed, "Boy Levi, you are indeed a figure. At the age of more than 20 years old, if you can fight me to a draw, you are a monster." As Levi's golden ship departed, this legendary battle finally came to an end. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 100. It is finally over. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Levi's big boat slowly sailing away from Cake Island. When Levi and Charlotte Linland were together, their conqueror's haki kept colliding with each other, which made them feel like they were weighing down a mountain. With the sinking of Cake Island, half of the dark giants were buried under the sea. They never imagined that they just attended a tea party and suffered such an unreasonable disaster. The entire dark world may be in great turmoil. The dark giants all have a clear understanding in their hearts. Due to the sudden death of these giants, the forces under their command will definitely face great turmoil. The most important thing is that they can also get a share of the pie. So they also hurriedly retreated. Quack, this time there is a headline. It is definitely another 710 big news after the Marineford War. Morgan said happily. He felt more and more that Levi was his noble person. Almost all the two big news items were given to him by Levi. It seemed that he would have a better relationship with him in the future. Mom, are you okay? When Zeus put Charlotte Linland on the glutinous rice boat made by Katakuri, Charlotte Linland's children gathered around him. When Zeus saw that no one was paying attention to him, he rolled his eyes, quietly shrunk and headed towards Levi's big boat. Chase. Levi, I won't lose, just wait. Katakuri clenched his fists tightly and swore secretly in his heart that he had always thought that his strength was the best even above the sea. Under the compliments of his younger brothers and sisters, he became a little arrogant. It was not until today that he, knowing how powerless he is in the face of absolute strength, he can't do anything. Levi stood at the bow of the boat until he left the side of the Cake Island. He instantly slumped down on the chair and shouted, "I'm so exhausted. Get me a bottle of iced wine and make more preparations food, I'm starving to death." This is the longest war that Levi has experienced. Although he did not defeat Charlotte Linland this time, after this month of war, his fighting skills have become more and more proficient. "Honey, you are awesome." Hancock ignored everyone on the deck and gave Levi a kiss, and then she gently massaged Levi's body. "Hey! Where are those delicious thunders you told me about?" A sudden voice startled everyone. Levi raised his eyelids and took a look. It turned out to be Zeus. They had reached an agreement on Cake Island. Levi would provide him with delicious thunder and lightning every day. Zeus is different from Prometheus. Prometheus only needs fire and sunlight, but Zeus is different. Zeus's food is to eat thunder and lightning, but there are very few thunder and lightning in the world, so he is often hungry and full. "Enel, shock him," Levi said lazily. As soon as he relaxed just now, he felt that his whole body could no longer exert any strength. Although Enel didn't know why Levi wanted him to do this, he was right to listen to the boss. Zzz. Enel's hand was filled with thunder and lightning kept blooming from his fingers. Zeus was so happy that he almost flew up. He opened his big mouth and greedily devoured the thunder and lightning in front of him. Another beautiful day. After a night's rest, Levi became full of energy again. At this moment, Zeus was flying in the sky with Sugar and Perona. Beside Zeus, Monet opened a pair of wings made of snow and was flying, with Baby 5 pushing forward on his back. The weapon kept flying behind. Baby 5 and other little Lolita were very envious of Monet's ability to fly. With the help of Levi, Baby 5's weapon Fruit developed a weapon to assist flying, so Baby 5 and Monet often flew in the sky, which made Perona and Sugar jealous. "It's so fun," Sugar and Perona kept shouting while lying on Zeus's soft body. Looking at the scene in front of him, Wei was also very happy. Monet suddenly flew back to Levi in the sky, and then she took out a phone bug from her arms. "Shanks. What do you want from me?" Levi said with a smile. This phone bug was given to him by Shanks when Levi and Shanks held a party, and he asked Monet to keep it. "Levi, I haven't seen you for a few days and you made another big news." "You are worthy of Levi." Shanks' laughter came from the other end of the phone. Seeing that Levi was confused, Monet handed him a newspaper with a wink. This was today's latest newspaper. On the headline, there was a picture of Levi and Charlotte Linlin fighting, and there was a bold word "ouch" on it. The big title, "The Battle for Supremacy in the New World Between Levi and the Big Mom Minister." "This is Morgan's work again," Levi guessed. It's nothing," Levi said modestly with a smile. "I'm also going to challenge Whitebeard. I want you guys to help me in the group." Levi was stunned for a moment. This doesn't look like Shanks' style. Although Shanks looks very easygoing, he has always been a high-minded person. How could such an arrogant person take the initiative to join forces with him? "Levi, don't get me wrong. What I mean is that after the battle between Whitebeard and I, Beckman is afraid that other pirate groups will take advantage of our weakness to launch a sneak attack. When we return to our own territory, I will treat you to a drink," Shanks explained to Levi. "Road. When?" Levi asked. "In 3 days," Shanks replied. Why is Shanks so anxious? He's ready to fight Whitebeard before he defeats the sand crocodile, Levi murmured to himself. "Boss, a lot of things happened when you were fighting Big Mom. First, Moria challenged Wanakuni and Kaido for the second time and failed again. Then Crocodile, the sand crocodile, challenged Whitebeard and also failed miserably. So, Levi's big ship headed for the place," agreed with Shanks. "Brother Levi, you are finally here." Shanks gave Levi a hug enthusiastically, then he pointed to the beluga-like ship anchored in the distance, escorted by more than a dozen she. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Pirates, check-in from Mariejois author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 101. "Goo la la la, boy Levi, are you here to take my head too?" Whitebeard said to Levi with a smile. At this moment, Levi and Shanks were all drinking on Whitebeard's boat. It was also the first time for Levi to see a very nervous person like Whitebeard. Although Shanks came to challenge him, this guy actually said that it was noon and he would not wait until after dinner. Hit the handle, so this scene appeared. When Levi heard Whitebeard's words, he curled his lips disdainfully and said, "Is your head valuable? Can it be compared to my ship?" Levi's finger pointed at his golden ship. The people of the Whitebeard pirates couldn't help but be speechless. Although they, as 4 emperors, have accumulated a lot of wealth in the sea for so many years, compared with Levi's ship, it is indeed not worth mentioning. If they hadn't known that the monster Levi was as powerful as Charlotte Linlin, who was also a member of the 4 emperors, I'm afraid they would have robbed Levi now. "Levi, you have some fun, be my son," Levi suddenly said. "I reject." Levi answered without hesitation. "Just kidding, he has been working hard for so many years and is about to become the top being in the world. Now, at this time, he wants to be someone's son. How smart is he?" "Haha, Dad, let me just say he won't agree," Marco said with a smile. "Although I know, I am really unwilling to give in. Marco, although I claim to be the strongest man in the world, except for me, there is no one else in the Whitebeard pirates who can take the lead. and the old bones will be gone. Who knows when Whitebeard picked up the wine bowl in his hand and drank it all in one gulp. After hearing Whitebeard's words, everyone became silent. Marco also knew that Whitebeard was telling the truth. Although he has the strength to compete with Admiral, he is suitable to be a deputy, not a decision maker. What he likes is that kind of peaceful and leisurely life. He is really not good at things like fighting for hegemony. Come on, drink. Why are you talking about this in such a happy time? By the way, Whitebeard, your wine is not strong enough. The next time I come from West Blue, I will bring you some wine from my hometown. That wine will be tasty enough. Ah, Shank's words suddenly made the silent atmosphere become cheerful again. Red-haired boy, you can escape from Daddy's hands and come back alive first. Diamond Josie also laughed. He was very fond of the red-haired man in front of him. This guy is very courageous, and he is more powerful than he was in the past few days. That guy named Crocodile is too strong. Haha, good. I hope you still have a chance. Whitebeard also laughed. Dad, there is an uninhabited island ahead. Although it is not big, it should be enough for fighting. Foil Bista shouted to Whitebeard from the observation deck. At this moment, he did not have a mustache. He looks very handsome. Then let's fight. Red Hair gave a long laugh, and then all the members of Red Hair Pirates headed towards the island. We, the Whitebeard Pirates, never bully the smaller ones. Marco, let's go with some captains, Whitebeard said to Marco. Dad, our second division doesn't have a captain now, so let me take his place. A big man walked over with a big smile. Okay, Ditchy, let you take the place of the second team in the battle, Whitebeard replied casually. Sure enough, it's Blackbeard. Marshal Dikey Levi looked at the fat man in a white shirt in front of him. The current Blackbeard only had a trace of stubble, not the thick Blackbeard he would later be called. Ditchy is very fat now, and coupled with his heroic smile, he looks very honest and loyal. Who would have thought that this guy would be willing to travel more than 2,000 miles in the Whitebeard Pirates just for a dark fruit? Soon, several captains of the Whitebeard Pirates also came to the island. They were the captain of the first team Marco, the combatant of the second team Tikai, the captain of the third team Jose, and the captain of the fourth team Sa. Chi, captain of the 5th division, Bista. The 5 Red Hair Pirates also stood corresponding to them. They were Captain Shanks, Deputy Captain Ben Beckman, Sniper Yasop, Lakey Lug, and a man with a turban whose name Levi could not name. Boy Levi, this is less than 1/3 of my captains. I, the Whitebeard Pirates, have a total of 16 divisions, and each division captain is extraordinary. As long as you join the Whitebeard Pirates, then I, the Whitebeard Pirates, will. How about you being the vice captain of the regiment? While Levi and Whitebeard were watching the battle, Whitebeard suddenly said to Levi. Levi was stunned for a moment. It seemed that Whitebeard still hadn't given up the idea of recruiting him. Actually, it's not that there are people with amazing ambitions and shocking means on your ship, but you didn't find them, Levi said to Whitebeard. How is it possible? My sons have been with me for such a long time. I know every one of them very well. Whitebeard was startled, and then he laughed. Apparently he thought Levi was joking. What do you think of Dikey? Levi asked Whitebeard. Levi also wanted to see Whitebeard's evaluation of Dikey. Ditchy, that guy is too lazy. His strength is pretty good. I have always wanted him to be the captain of Whitebeard's 2nd division. The reason is that the 277th team found it troublesome. Later, the captain couldn't beat Ditchy. The captain of the 2nd division has always been vacant. Speaking of his son, Whitebeard showed a loving smile on his face. Levi couldn't help but secretly sigh. Ditchy was really good at tricking people like Whitebeard, who had experienced many vicissitudes of life. While Levi and Whitebeard were talking, a battle between the two sides began. The Red Hair Pirates were all gunmen. At the beginning of the battle, Yasop, Beckman, and others quickly pulled away, leaving Shanks standing alone. Boom! With the outbreak of Shanks' conqueror's haki, the bodies of the Whitebeard pirates stagnated. It was obvious that they were all affected by Shanks. Lakey Lou's eyes flashed, and his fat figure appeared in the Whitebeard pirates like a ghost. Snap, snap, snap. The gun in Lachilu's hand began to fire continuously, and the position and angle of his bullets were extremely tricky, making it difficult for everyone to defend. Marco's body began to ignite with blue flames, and when the bullet hit, he transformed into a pair of flame wings and flew towards Shanks. Chiao Zi shouted, and the crystal diamond armor appeared on his body. The bullets hit his armor and sparks burst out. Their battle entered its most intense moment from the very beginning. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 102. A flash of light flashed in Yasop's eyes, and his bullet shot right along with the moment Sachi swung his knife. Boom! Sage had just used a knife to seal Lucky Lou's bullet. When his knife passed by, Yasop's bullet had already hit his head. Sage rolled his eyes and fainted. Thatch. When Marco and others saw Sachi fell to the ground, they immediately went crazy. Jose was like a huge wild boar and rushed directly towards Lucky Lou. Lucky Lou's gun hit Jose's diamond armor. Sparks flew everywhere, and in the blink of an eye, Jose rushed in front of him. Boom! Jose and Lucky Lou collided with a loud noise, and Lucky Lou began to wrestle with Jose. Lucky Lou was pushed back by Jose, leaving 2 streaks on the ground. Deep ravines. This Shanks swordsmanship is probably no less than that of Hawkeye. I never thought that among the new generation of pirates, besides Hawkeye, there would be such a swordsman. Whitebeard couldn't help but admired Shanks as he watched the battle with Marco. Although Marco had the Phoenix fruit, every time he was injured and recovered, he needed a lot of physical strength, and gradually he began to lose his strength. As for Thatch, Whitebeard could see that when the bullet came, he hardened his eyebrows. However, the bullet was covered with armament haki, and Thatch fainted from the impact. The red hair pirates were not without losses. The man with the turban was also eliminated by Daiki. The foil bista showed that the red-haired swordsmanship was amazing and Marco couldn't hold on anymore. So he went to support Marco with 2 rapiers in hand. Now Daiki and Jose are facing off against the 3 red-hair pirates. Because Diamond Jose is so popular and his defense is extremely strong, Yasop and Beckman have always focused on him. Lucky Lou was fighting with Ditchy. The 2 fat men were fighting with great momentum. The sand on the entire beach flew up. The sand blocked everyone's sight. For a while, everyone could only see continuously flying sand. When the sand fell, everyone discovered that Lucky Lou had fallen to the ground. The foil bista swords had broken, and his left shoulder was injured. He had no choice but to withdraw from the battle. The sword in the hand of that red-haired boy is definitely a supremely fast sword. Whitebeard spoke more highly of the red-haired Shanks. Although Bista's sword is not a famous sword, it has the blessing of armament haki. Only the supreme sharp sword can achieve such power. Daiki, I'm going to stop them. You go and help Captain Marco defeat the red-haired Diamond Jose shouted. Okay, then Captain Kiyoshi, you have to be careful, Ditchy chuckled. Obviously he was also very worried about Kiyoshi's safety. After that, a grappling hook appeared in Teach's hand, and he ran towards Shanks. Although Yasop and Beckman also tried to knock Teach down, Teach was already on guard, and with Jaw's protection, he finally broke into Mal. Within the battle circle between K and Red Hair. Captain Marco, I'm here to help you, Teach shouted, and he also joined Marco's fight. How can it be? Everyone let out a cry of surprise. As soon as Teach entered the red-haired left side, the hook in his hand grabbed Shanks directly. Although Shanks stabbed Teach with his sword, Teach's claw chest also fell. Caught Shanks on the face. Shanks covered his eyes and groaned, and then everyone saw that there were 3 scratches on Shanks' eyes. Fortunately, he tilted his head at the critical moment, otherwise his eyes would not have been saved. Shank's eyes were sharp, and then his conqueror's haki was poured out towards the three of them without reservation. This kind of conqueror's haki. How is it possible? Whitebeard stood up in shock. This was the second time he had seen conqueror's haki of this intensity in his life. The first time was with Roger the Pirate King. Suddenly, he saw the shadow of Roger on Shanks. Is this your heritage, Roger? Whitebeard knew Shanks. Whitebeard and Roger were old rivals when Roger was proud of the sea. At that time, Shanks was still an intern. They had met several times. At that time, Shanks even told a red-nosed kid that he wanted to marry him. Head. Yes, that's Roger's straw hat. It seems you have chosen a great successor. Then Whitebeard noticed Shanks' straw hat. He originally thought that Shanks admired Roger, so he made the same straw hat as Roger. Now he found out yes, Shanks is wearing Roger's straw hat at the moment. With the release of Shanks' haki, he dispatched all enemies in the blink of an eye. Whitebeard, now I am qualified to challenge you. Shanks put the straw hat on his head again. He was lowering his head now, and the blood from the corners of his eyes was dripping to the ground. Okay, I will fulfill your wish. Whitebeard let out a long laugh, then he took out his huge naginata from his side and jumped towards the beach. Shanks, I will grant your wish today, let's fight. Whitebeard stood on the beach holding a naginata and greeted Shanks' entire group. No, I'm enough on my own. Shanks waved his hand back, and Beckman and Yasop put away their guns. Okay, you have courage. I haven't seen a man with such courage in a long time. After Whitebeard smiled, the naginata in his hand was like cutting off Shanks's head. On his sword, there was a halo of light that looked very strange. Shockfruit Levi's eyes narrowed slightly. Whitebeard is known as the strongest man in the world. A large part of the reason is because of this shockfruit. I don't know if it is Whitebeard who gave this shockfruit such a reputation, or because of it. This shockfruit turned Whitebeard into the strongest man in the world. Oh my God, the space is cracked, the little girls on Levi's boat exclaimed. The moment Whitebeard's sword was swung out, even the space began to crack. Whitebeard's blow was so powerful. Shockfruit. Shanks let out a whisper, and at the same time the sword in his hand began to shine brightly. After that, Shanks stabbed Whitebeard's naginata with the long sword in his hand.